Hi, everybody. Oh, man, there is so much going on. And I just want to address something that kind of stuck with me. People sharing somebody out that's saying something that's I feel is misleading and inappropriate. And I'm going to address it because nobody else will. People scared of some people. I don't know. But Sean Bradley did a post. Somebody shared it out. Somebody that I'm subscribed to shared it out. Of course, it came on my feed. But it was talking about being still and then vengeance is and all this kind of stuff. And first of all, when you gloat about and boast about somebody else's misfortune, that's not being still. That's still getting some sort of vengeance, still an act of vengeance. Being still means really being still. You can see something, recognize it for what you think it might be, and not say anything. But to say that somebody else's misfortune is karma for you, that's misleading because you get to a point where you're looking at it and saying, what does that mean? Oh, this happened because of Sean? Nah. Shit happens to people. Stuff happens. You don't know if what's going on in that case or anything else. You don't know nothing about it. The person could be totally innocent, but it has nothing to do with you. Because from what I remember, and I'm not going way back, I'm just going back to where you feel something was done to you. Um, that person didn't have anything to do with it, wasn't doing anything. So how can that be a karma for you? Because sometimes we say, "Oh, look what happened. That happened because of me." No, not always. That's why you have to be quiet. And when you start talking about what God is doing, He doesn't contradict Himself because it says in the Bible. Because I remember my pastor preaching it, saying, "Do not, celebrate the downfall of another person." It also says, "Don't let your feet be quick to run to mischief." So if that's what's trying to come across, then that would be God contradicting Himself. Because, a lot of times when God tells you to be still, it don't have nothing to do with another person. It may have to do with you. Maybe something you're doing. Maybe God's telling you to be still because you're doing too much, been doing too much. I don't know what God's telling you. But I'm telling you what He can be telling you when He says be still. And be still means really be still. You ain't got nothing to say about it, nothing to do with it. That's being still. And you're if you were of the Spirit, you would know. The Spirit would tell you, don't do that, don't say nothing. Because when you people go around talking about, oh, God don't play about me. God don't play, period. The only thing that God instructed was touch not mine anointed and do my prophet no harm. And there are other instructions also. And when He says touch not my anointed, I know I'm anointed, highly anointed. But I have to take accountability sometimes because you can't put yourself in a position to be touched. That's the key right there. That's what I'm working on. And when you try to look at someone else's downfall as being validating you, no, it's really not. What validates you as a person is what you do or you don't do. That's the way it should be. But like I said, talking about it and bragging about it and boasting about it and gloating about it, that's still vengeance. That's not being still. That's celebrating someone else's downfall. And a lot of times in this country, okay, uh, stuff happens to black men, black people. It happens. And then they got nothing else to do with somebody in the past. It may have it no, it may have to do with the evil in somebody else because the system is set up that way. And it's really unfair and wrong, in my opinion, for someone to say, oh, look what God did to them. God is a giver of love. Now, he may allow things to happen, but he's not your personal army where he's going to go out there and uh, just do something on your behalf to someone that hasn't done anything to you. I don't think so. And that's my opinion. That's the way I see it. But it's still an act of vengeance when you brag about it. And that is not being still. And you have to look at your own life and see what you may be doing. Telling you to be still, that could be for anything. It could be quiet. It could mean a lot of things. And I think when you think about it, what's going on in your personal life, um, that's what you have to look at as well. But, I'm just saying, I've seen a lot on YouTube. A lot of stuff happen to people. And I don't care who it is. I don't celebrate it. You know, I look at it, I observe it, I say, mm-hmm. Because reaping what you sow is entirely different from God taking vengeance on someone. This case is neither one of those. Until you know all the facts and everything else, that's part of being still also. Instead of, running around, it may be that you need to just get out of the whole thing completely. Because people think you're gone. You ain't never left. You here every day, all day, talking to people about it, you know, sitting over there in your little compound, talking about it. That's not being still. You still got your hand in the mix. You still got them puppet strings working. You still got all that going on. You ain't never left. And one of the things that I think people make a mistake when the word says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, you got to keep that in context. Because you need to really be innocent. Okay? You really need to be innocent. See, a lot of stuff, I don't know what happened with that situation with that person and you. I really don't now. I don't know if you had something to do with it or not. Because you have been one to distance yourself from the truth on many occasions. I'm so innocent. No. But that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that when that came in my feed. Because don't bring God into it. If you're happy about it or whatever, just say, well, I'm glad to see it or something. But don't act like, God is doing something for you by harming another person. Another person that had nothing to do with what happened to you before. And I hope that, I'm concerned that people who see that, because a lot of people follow you and they take what you say as an edict, as this okay. And I think that's what disturbed me the most, that a lot of people would see that and say, yeah, that guy got vengeance and praying hands and everything else. And it may not be that. When things play out, you don't know what happened. Nobody know what happened. And his wife don't know what happened, trying to figure it out. But it'll come out in the wash, whatever happened with that person. But that's not connected to you. And a lot of things, like I said, looking back in hindsight, you had your hands in a lot of things, but you always played innocent because you knew how to uh, work behind the scenes. A lot of stuff that happened with me, you knew about it. You were with it. Okay? You were involved. And because things that happened to me came out of nowhere. Yeah, it did. But, being able to move beyond that is one thing. And if you've moved beyond it, it wouldn't matter to you what happened with somebody else. See, because I know you well enough to know that you don't forget. You talk that talk, but you don't do it. But as long as my name escapes your lips and other people's names come out of your mouth, then you haven't forgotten. And you still plot and scheme. Oh, I know what you're up to. Ask me how I know. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted like I said, it rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that. Because when you celebrate someone else's downfall, look out, because yours may be coming shortly thereafter. You know, you should be praising God that it be quiet and praising God that it ain't you. Because stuff happens. Mistaken identity, a whole lot of stuff happens. Stuff comes at people, and people can be totally innocent. That's why people get exonerated from stuff. People can be totally innocent, and stuff still happen. Bad things happen to good people. But the word also says, don't put yourself in the judgment seat, and judge not lest ye be judged. It says a lot of stuff in there about that. You have to be very careful. And that was a judgment that you put on that little post. You already judged the person. And that's misleading to people who see that. And I'm going to say something about it. Ain't no point in me sitting up here being quiet when I see something that I feel is wrong. Just, move along. But all this God don't play about me stuff and all that, like I said, God don't play about nobody. God don't play, period. He's not in the game playing business. That's some serious stuff. It really is. And you can't put yourself in the position of, God is championing you via the downfall of someone else. He can champion you by something good you do. So that's all I want to say about that. Um, I see a lot and I don't say anything. I see people saying stuff about people. I just keep it moving and don't really get involved. I hear a lot. I know a lot, but I don't say nothing. Normally, usually I don't say nothing. I don't get in the mix, and I'm not going to judge nobody for what they're doing. But I see some people that on here, they so high and mighty, can't nobody say nothing to them or about them, but they can say stuff about other people. Yeah, I see that. But I also see um, people like yourself who mislead people into thinking that you somehow have gotten justice, and that's wrong. That's wrong. And that's the way I see it. And if that's the way I see it, I'm going to say it. Like I said, people come after people, do things or whatever. But when you plot behind the scenes about people and talk about people and make plans, you know, I know about your little plans, and I've been told just wait and get the bag. Don't say nothing. That's the one part, and I'm trying to go along with that. The other part of me is like, no, I'm gonna do something about this. So I'm still undecided as far as that's concerned. But anyway, let me get back to my real life and things I'm doing. And if something comes across my feed, if I think it's great, I'm going to say something. If I think it's not great, I'm going to say something. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.